everyone. Happy Saturday. My name is Katie Gideon. I am dialing in from Edinburgh, Scotland. I will be the on-camera facilitator. And I want to give a shout out to my co-facilitator who is coming in from Tennessee, Ms. Bailey. You'll see her in the chat. We have honestly been chatting away before this. We had all sorts of fun stuff to catch up with, which I think is really fun and really exciting. But it'll also be a Bailey Katie weekend. So we'll be back for round two of the setups, but we are so glad that you're here. I love seeing all of the returning socialers in the chat, seeing your names, seeing the greetings, being able to greet each other by name. It's just so wonderful. I feel like it's just so lovely. It's that added touch. That's what makes these socials, I think, really fun and really special. But if you are new, this is your first time with us, I would love to see in the chat if this is your first social, if this is your first setup social, or if it's just kind of maybe your first social in a while. And in order to share in the larger group, if you want to, just double check that the chat says to everyone. If it just says hosts and panelists, which is the default, that comes to Bailey and I. And so you can definitely share as little or as much as you want in the chat. We just want you to use whatever you want this time for. And then again, getting back into that cadence of socials in general. It's going to be a little bit of a sensory overload. The chat is going to go at its rate, but you can always pause the chat. I'm gonna be talking, and if I'm bothering you, you can mute me. The music's gonna be going. I will say I went a little bit on like a mellower side just because I've been in my feels this past week. And then on top of all that, we're going to want to try and work on our pages in our journal. So take what you need from this. We will continue to move through everything. So if you want to answer the prompts in the chat, do so. If you need inspiration as well, definitely put that in there. But use this next hour how you want to use it because you've set aside this time for you and your self-care. But as always, be kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam. Respect everyone's privacy. No hate speech or bullying. Limit repetitive product and accessory questions. We'll most likely redirect some of the customer query inquiries, especially specifically around your individual accounts, to our team. hello@silkandsonder.com. And Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if you're here to celebrate all the amazing things that you did, all the great things that, we're into spring. The first day of spring was this past week. Maybe you're feeling those, maybe you aren't. Maybe you're feeling the seasonal changes, all of those things, but we're glad you're here in whatever capacity you are here and to take whatever you need from this particular session. So we are in our final week of Embracing Vitality in March. And I wanted to use it a little bit as a time as a comeback, kind of full circle moment. I did one of the monthly setups and I came across this Katharine Hepburn quote, "Vitality, that's the pursuit of life, isn't it?" The question. And I was really nervous by the question because to me it sounded very big, very weighted, and should not have been as simple of an answer. I wanted to put a lot of extra thought and feeling and emotion with it, so it kind of made me a little nervous. Turned me a little bit off to the whole vitality concept. But then through the last weeks of exploring that, for me, vitality is, yes, the whole concept of energy, but it also can be your passion, your zest, your sparkle, all those things that make you uniquely you. And so I now have a response to Katharine Hepburn's question with, "That's the pursuit of life, isn't it?" And the answer is yes. But it's not only a resounding yes, but it's saying yes to more things. Take that simple answer of yes and turning those into action items. We are all unique in how we see the world, experience the world, fill our cups, recharge our batteries. So saying yes to the things that really, really make us happy and really adds that spark, I think is so elegantly simplistic in what it means, but the follow on value from doing it is you can't help but smile. You can't help but be kind of on the top of the world after you do something that really fills you up in all of that capacity. So yes, vitality is the pursuit of life. And it is, yes, doing things, saying things, improving things, experiencing all those things, and embracing all those even small little things, I think builds to the overall vitality of our lives. It's going from almost that like cheesy black and white concept to living in color, so to speak. And I think some of those can absolutely be opened when you say yes. And not only when you say yes to something, but what are the additional doors that you open, the additional opportunities. I think of some of those cascading events of, I said yes to relocating for a new job, but by saying yes, I've had to experience a whole bunch of other amazing things, go on tours, meet amazing people, participate in things that I probably wouldn't have done where I was. And so that yes proved to be far more powerful than even I expected. So that is how we're going to embrace all of those ideas. And I do feel like, again, it's not that we're saying no, because I also feel like you need to definitely say no when you need to refresh and recharge. That's part of that vitality. But I think it's one of those, if you even just have that tiny inkling of, well, this could be fun, or this could be something I would want to do, or this is something that I'm interested in, that's when you say yes. And so we're going to embrace our final week of the Vitality Mind Map. We're going to do our Rosebud Thorn reflection, and then we're going to do those weekly setup pages. So if you haven't joined us before, the Vitality Mind Map is unique to the weekly. And knowing that we've already done 3 weeks before that, don't feel pressured to catch up on any of those weeks. We do provide the previous week prompts for that. But this is just like a fun, I still think it is a fun, really creative way to embrace the theme. And so this week's theme is practices to enhance vitality throughout the year. What habits and activities can help me cultivate more vitality daily? And so that's what I loved about, honestly, this particular mind map, because as I explored it, like I said, some of my first week answers, 1 and 2, were a little bit on the melancholy, slightly less optimistic side that I like to think I live my life. And again, I've just seen that kind of excitement and passion and zest and optimism kind of ramp up as each of these weeks have gone by. And I just love that. I love that being able to kind of carry some of that, shedding some of the winter feels, moving into the spring feels. So I feel like it all just made sense. And so I even will credit vitality even more so with kind of adding that new spark as you kind of transition out of winter to spring, the first quarter into the second quarter, as well as just these were so well placed, at least in my particular moment, that I found this far more valuable than maybe previous months. So here are some of the other questions that I considered for this is, do you know your go-to activities that really spark your passion? If you've had a bad day or if you had a bad conversation, a bad situation, do you know how to kind of revive yourself a little bit? Do you have things that you can do by yourself? Do you have things that you can do with others? Do you kind of know what those things are? And if not, definitely take the time to kind of figure what some of that out. But what I like about it is you don't have to provide any reasons why. You don't have to say, yes, this makes me happy because. You don't have to apologize for the things that make you happy. And I think part of it is kind of then what I looked into is I do the things I like because they make me happy. I will happily explain to someone why they make sense, but I'm not going to apologize for that now. And then as always, how can you make more time for these if you feel like you need to? Or maybe you're already incorporating them. And I feel like sometimes I even feel pressure in these socials to kind of find a new routine, establish a new routine, change a new routine. But I don't always take the time to celebrate the routines that I've already established. I am so happy. I'm a book reader, avid book reader. Bailey and I were just talking about books. And the fact that I have absolutely built intuition like into my daily routine always will always incorporate reading, and that has become just a staple that I don't even consider it a habit anymore. That is just something that I know I have to do to get me through the day. So celebrate some of the things that you're already incorporating. And then as always, can you maybe help someone else find their vitality? I feel like you can kind of see when some of your friends, their spark dulls a little bit, or you can always get that feeling if someone's not quite where it is. Is there some ways that you can help? Is there some way you can kind of share your passion, your zest, all of those things to kind of help somebody else, a little bit of a give back moment? So with that being said, I have done quite a bit of talking. I'm going to let you all work on the week 4 question of what habits and activities can help cultivate more vitality on a daily basis. How do you incorporate some of these practices to continue to help with that spark and that energy. And we will see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I loved seeing all of the responses of what drives you, what gets you up in the morning, what gets you through the things, good, bad, and everything in between. And it's so inspiring. And I don't think we give it enough time, just in our daily reflections, daily ideas, those type of things. And so it's really special to be able to take maybe this even what 5, 6 minutes just to kind of hold a little bit of space for it. I think it's magical, but I couldn't help but sit and smile and read the chat, even though everyone had some pretty powerful experiences on kind of taking a step back from things that add spark, but having to, step away, come into it, come back to it, I think is really great. And that is what I genuinely love about some of these mind maps. There are ones that they're just kind of a really nice little easy answer, and you can kind of just skim the surface. And then there are other ones that kind of maybe push you to go a little bit deeper. And so for this one, surprisingly, that's what kind of it turned out to me. We'll see what the next month brings and what the previous months have brought. But at the end of the day, it was just a really special time to kind of get in my own headspace to kind of figure it out, sort it out. But being able to do it with each and every one of you is always really special. So thank you for sharing. And we would love to see if you want to share in the app the completed mind maps, because for me, I just think they're very visually stunning. Because again, they're all just so unique to everybody. So now we are going to move to our rosebud thorn reflection, which is going to be on page 50 in your March journal. And kind of in with the spirit of embracing vitality. You can think of this in terms with the rosebud thorn. The roses were something that kind of fed your energy, fed your passion, fed your zest, with either a highlight, a win, a celebration, something that made you smile, something that made you happy, something that really filled you with all of the energy and positivity. A bud is something that could potentially lead to that. It is an emerging opportunity, something that is maybe out on the horizon, you haven't quite sorted it out yet, or something that you're looking forward to, and something that maybe if you can kind of add a little attention to it, you can turn it into a rose, or maybe prepare for the possibility of it being a thorn. And the thorn is just being that acknowledgement of a challenge, something that didn't go so well, something maybe a little bit more on the negative side, something that is just maybe taking up too much time, energy, or space in your mind, body, or health, those type of things. So it's always great to acknowledge the good, the bad, and everything in between from each week, to either put it out into the universe so that you can then leave it in the previous week and bring all only the good things into the new week. Or with our amazing Sonder family here, it's a way to celebrate some of those wins, but also, know that someone else is either thinking of you, caring for you, sending some of those thoughts for some of those thorns that you're going through. For me, this particular week, Rose, it was saying yes to things. Last weekend, I didn't do any of the socials because I was out storming castles. I did a castle tour, which was great and fantastic. So it was saying yes to things, doing things that you would think would be silly. But the tour guide kind of mentioned it as best as going back to the things that really made you happy as a kid and finding a way to do those in your kind of later adult life. And I love a good trivia quiz night. I'm one of those nerds, and I went with my drama friends. We came in first, which we were really excited, and it was just super fun to hang out with them. But also, I feel like it's one of those slightly enough to kind of take everyone a little bit out of their comfort zone, but still seeing that everyone still melds so well, super fun. And the same group, we're gonna go see Death of a Salesman tonight. So I have found my group of people that like to do weird things with me, and so I enjoy it. The bud, again, one of those simple things. I'm a fairy lights fan. I have always loved Christmas lights in particular. And someone said when Christmas lights are out year round, they just call them fairy lights. So I did buy a fairy light string that's now up and down my banister in my apartment, and it makes me so happy. It's gonna look so amazing tonight. And so it's those little things that, as silly as they are, the twinkly lights make me happy. And so I'm excited for them to continue to make me happy. The thorn, again, just kind of seasonal change. I've got a little bit of a stopped up nose and all the woes in dealing with that. So always happens at the season, but hopefully it'll pass. But as always, we are on page 50 for the rosebud thorn, and I would love if you want to share in the chat your rosebud thorns for the week. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I loved reading all of the Rosebud Thorns, but I also loved the question that Salia, sorry if I pronounced it incorrectly, pointed out of what would be potentially a masculine equivalent to the rosebud thorn. I love the creativity of these. I went with a sports reference because that's all my family's in the mood for right now: softball, basketball, all those things. So for me, a rose would be a home run, bud would be a base hit, a thorn would be struck out. But that's purely a baseball reference. But I love the idea to do that, and it looks like there are just some more. So maybe think of some creative ways to incorporate that. But I do think it is an extremely valuable exercise each and every week. And that is so you can take that moment to reflect on what happened and went well, what maybe has potential, and what maybe didn't go as well. And I think that's always just a really valuable thing to do. I think makes you appreciate the little things that you did last week, especially if you tend to dwell a little bit more on the negative and you have a little bit harder time to find. I think it really hones in knowing that this is something that you're going to be able to reflect on each week. You start to kind of hone in on those good things. You celebrate all those small wins each and every day. And I feel like it's one of those things I found it extremely powerful that if you are finding it tricky to repurpose one of the sections in the weekly pages, to just focus on celebrating something that you did well every single day. I think it's great. I love that idea. I think everyone should take time, either at the end of the week, the day, the month, even end of the year, to just kind of ask yourself and frame your things in this, because it can be so helpful. Because we can take some of that energy into the next week. So now we're going to be working on pages 52 and 53 in your March journal. And as always, there is no right or wrong way to journal. The best thing I always recommend is to ask yourself, what do you need this week? Sometimes you need something exactly as written in the journal to help you with those guidance, with those reminders. And sometimes it's a complete repurposing because you have a weird week. Because I know with spring break kind of amongst us, that means, especially if you have children or if you're a teacher, those turn into slightly different weeks. So maybe your routines need to be adjusted a little bit. And maybe sometimes it's the overwhelmingness that you need to step away from. So maybe you need to keep some sections blank. But as we said, there's no right or wrong way to do this. No one is looking over your shoulder to see if you're doing this. And I think some of our teachers even brought in as there's no due date on this. So you don't have to get it all done today. You don't have to work on it today. But that is kind of how I tend to frame my week on how can it help me? What do I need this week? Knowing that they potentially will look different, but it helps me manage my expectations a little bit better. And same thing with, I'm going to go through a bunch of different sections and then go through the examples. So if you need me to go back to an example, we'll do, but I'll turn on some music. We'll go back to that just so you can work on that. So just let me know if you need us to go back somewhere, revisit a slide and everything there. So we're going to start at the top of page 52 with This Week I Want to Feel. I know I was a sucker for this quote because I feel like it's so true, especially when I'm big on saying yes and sharing your story, but in the quiet hours, we know that there are things that you don't read out loud, and those could be good, bad, and all the maybe even the super spicy ones. But you can ask yourself, how do you want to feel this time next week? But I know one of Bailey approaches is that she actually saves this one for the end of her page setup because she'll kind of use it as a summary, which I think is also a great idea. Kind of again to help you narrow your focus. I like this particular section to kind of be my focal point. What is my end goal? What am I gonna come away with this particular week with? And sometimes it's feeling 1% better, 5% healthier, more or less of something. Maybe it's embracing your word of the year, your word of the month. Maybe it's embracing the theme of the month. Maybe it's a fun sticker that's gonna add that added picture speaks 1,000 words. So if you want to put in the chat what you want to feel this time next week, love to see it. I'm just going to put on a quick song to add some of that inspiration as we kick off these pages. We'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. I love the intentional optimism of this. This is that perfect. I'm a musical theater geek, so it's that perfect I want moment. So, this is the part of your I want song. So, this is what you want out of your week. And here are the ways that you can help yourself with that particular week. So, I'm going to combine the weekly major three goals section and the weekly to dos because a lot of our Sonder fam will kind of combine these things a little bit instinctually, either directly or, you kind of set up in companionship with each other. And so maybe these are major three goals, maybe they are minor three goals, maybe they are just three categories of the things you want to do this week, or maybe these are the no joke, these are the three things you need to do this week. For me, these tend to be the intentional, emotional reminders that I need to give myself. And then the categories I think are really great here with you have a professional goal, a mind goal, a body goal. Maybe you have one that is creative. You want to be capable and then caring. We love a good alliteration. Maybe you're like, Katie, don't want to think about goals right now. Need a break. We're on spring break, so I just need out. And I just want to talk about the movies, the shows, the books, and the creative projects I'm working on because that is how I am recharging my battery and finding my vitality. Excellent. But maybe it is you have three major goals or three goals that you want to accomplish each day. So you have a early goal, a midday goal, and an evening goal. Again, with the alliterations, the bottom left one is that kind of combination of the categories and the theme of the month and how they want to feel, as well as their to-do list in a bingo board. Huh, it's like the Triducan of Silk and Sonder, because you have the planning, the doing, and the peacefulness, and then the three different goals and the to-dos that work directly to support those mind, body, soul categories. And you will see the bingo boards. Bingo boards kind of sort of work for me, but I definitely have to be in the mood because I do love a good celebration. But I love the excitement that bingo boards can bring, but that's not particularly a tool that I use. I tend to be a little bit more of my to-do lists, my to-do lists, and my emotional, mental reminders that I just need to kind of chant to myself when I start to feel maybe too many thorns in my rose bush. And then maybe this is more of your routines. Maybe this is the goals that you want to stop doing. You want to focus on some of those. And then maybe you want to completely switch the sections because the line section works better for your list. The goals are the stickers. Or maybe you just want to focus on weekly affirmations or weekly to-dos in that capacity. And so the goals stay a little open. And then with the weekly to-dos, mine recently has been hydrate, which has been really helpful. So I thought the Kermit water gun was pretty funny. And then, like you said, are you a to-do person? I am a to-da person because I love the idea of celebration. So I will write down my things that I accomplish on my to-do list. But as we've now fully embraced, it doesn't matter if it's a to-do list, a to-da list, as long as it's to done. And I've also recently tried to focus on the Eisenhower matrix, which is the do, decide, delegate, and delete. Do live alone, so I do have a really hard time with the delegation piece, but I delegated the maintenance work needed that I could normally do myself because I was just tired of having to sort out tools and parts and some of those things, and it was just trickier. And I also delegated, I have now hired a maid service to come in once a month. And I still have a little bit of guilt about it that I can't do it myself because I feel like it's one of those I should be able to incorporate in my daily schedule to do that. I should be able to clean my space. I should be able to do all of those things. But I have never had equipment and cleaning product envy like I did when they left. It looks amazing. I am so glad that they're going to be here once a month. It's just that added relief and excitement that I guarantee you I would have never done. Because, like I said, I'm still struggling with the fact that I am not good enough that I can't do it. But that was one of those delegation things that I made the conscious effort, and I'm still reeling a little bit with the decisions, but I'm so content with it and so happy that I know I'm just being dramatic. But maybe you need to break down your to-do list into needs and wants. Maybe it's a need, want, hope. Maybe it is just recategorizing your to-do list to try and get it accomplished. Or again, maybe it's just those, this is where your to-do reminders are in a really great sticker format. Or again, maybe you're feeling a little less than, a little under the weather. So maybe it's, this is where the happy thoughts are, your wins, all of those things. And then maybe it is just a weekly to be, embracing it, the to-do list and the not to do. And then I like the one on the right with the broken down of your weekly goals and your personal to-dos, and on the need and the want categories there. So I would love to hear how you tackle your major three goals and your to-do lists, and how they support, again, that end goal, the I want my week to be this. Gonna play some song, and I will see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Loved seeing some of the really nice and creative repurposing ideas. Loved that some people found the accountability buddies to help them with the goals. It's one of my favorite words because we are each other's best accountability buddies. But we are great in this community, but sometimes you definitely need the added help and support of either those around you or those that are kind of around you on a day-to-day basis. So I think it's always great to kind of share these ideas with everybody. And that just kind of gets you in your headspace. And maybe again, it can provide some inspiration to a few others. So we are still going to stay on page 52. We're now moving to that bottom section of the habits and activities, or as Maya coined it, the habities. And so these are ways that you can kind of, again, support those weekly to-dos and your major three goals for that I want this type of week. And what I think is really nice about the habits and activities, these can be things that you can kind of choose to incorporate or things that you already are doing. I will use the monthly habit and activity tracker as those are the things I want to do every single day. I am a creature of habit. My three ones, I mean, I don't at this point even really consider them habits much anymore. That's just what my day consists of. Setting aside time for moving, setting aside time for journaling, and setting aside time for reading. I will then pull those three things that I want to do every single day into my habit and activity tracker on the weekly side to then account for reality. What is the weather going to be like? What is my workload going to be like? Am I traveling? Am I pretty open on my schedule? Or have I, said yes to attend things? And so that's where I account because everyone has the same 24 hours. It's just how we prioritize it. And so these are things that I feel like are important enough that I can then add that realism of how much can I accomplish when I could come to reading. Do I get to read an hour? Do I get to read a couple chapters? Do I get to stay up all night to finish 200 pages in my book? So those are those things that I really like about the habit and activity tracker. So you can certainly use them as goals. You can set those goals. Maybe you want to do something 5 times, 4 times, 3 times, 2 times. Maybe these are more of those finally reminders. Maybe this is like you're like, Katie, I got too much. I'm either going to be really busy at work or I'm traveling and I just want to be present and I don't want to track any habities. Then you can put a little sticker there. You can cover it up. Maybe you want to focus on things you want to stop doing. Maybe you have different habits and activities for the weekdays versus the weekends. Like I said, just because there are 5 lines here does not mean you need to do 5 activities. I certainly would not recommend 5 brand new activities. That's why I like my three staples that are always there. And then I always like to incorporate something fun, something unique. And now I feel like this is going to be a staple of my socials with the 5 days to schedule each month. So maybe you want to try one of these. Again, we definitely know the self-care day and the reset days, those are really valuable, but maybe you do some version of an unplug. Maybe you do a learning, and that's where you can say yes to a book reading, a town hall, a museum, a tour, something like that, or even just a fun day. Embrace that. Go to your local park and walk around. Do a subtle change of scenery. These don't have to be big, lofty, elaborate, planned things. Maybe it's I want to go to like the fancy grocery store, or I want to go to a local Italian market and buy fresh pasta. You can have those type of subtle tweaks that I feel like are absolutely habits and activities that we should incorporate it because we already are. And so sometimes you're already doing these things and you just need to hold a little bit of a space for them to acknowledge it instead of always trying to reinvent it or recreate it. I mean, I'm always for a reinvention and adjustment and pushing yourself for those particular goals. But sometimes I just don't think every single week demands that. And that's maybe my personal opinion right now. And then, you know me, I love my iconography. So here are some visuals that I just think are lovely and the vibe. So maybe you need some ways to slow down when your life is feeling extra busy. This was me a little bit the past couple weeks. I feel like I have been doing a lot, and it's not that it's a bad thing. I like being busy, but I think I need to then maybe help myself come a little bit down from that overstimulant a little bit easier so it's not just an epic crash. And same thing with the spring. Who's not excited about spring? The spring bucket list. For me, I feel like the first like real spring day, I open all of my windows. So that is definitely like a simple habit and activity that I love. That I feel like again is so simple. It's opening a window and then going about my day as if nothing. But I feel like that's when, like, for me, spring has officially arrived because it's just that, like, right, nice, cool, calm. All the windows come up, and I just feel like I've accomplished so much more with it. So I would love to hear the habits and activities that you all are working on, and how you use this particular section. And we'll see. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And also, this section can be really a great way to kind of help you help yourself. What some people have done is if you are maybe not progressing along in the journal or connecting back to the pages, you can certainly use this. Maybe these are some of your habits. Maybe it is to check in with your intentions every couple of days. Maybe it is to double check that habit tracker. Maybe it is to check in with the different logs. You can kind of add yourself those reminders. Maybe it is to work on the coloring page. And so again, I use the habits and activities as a way to, I'm going to make effort to set aside however much time I can do to these different activities. And sometimes I need to incorporate some of the journaling specific prompts because I'm all over the place sometimes. So, help you help yourself. Future you will appreciate that past you created these breadcrumbs, is kind of way to do that. Yeah, is that one? Okay. And so now we are going to flip over to the B side, page 53. I call it the B side because I am a music person, so this is my own personal record. I listen to the A side all the time. That is my go-to. The B side is not something I always listen to, but there are some real good gems when I need them. So I'm going to go through all of these sections and then turn on a quick song to go over it and look at it, and then we'll come back for the closing. It always does. It goes by so fast. It's so fast. It's wild. So meal plan. You can absolutely use it as a meal plan in real time, or you can repurpose it as to one that you kind of track a little bit more. Maybe this is where your one good things are. People have incorporated into more of a little bit of a self-care. Maybe this is a meal plan for the soul. So you could do prompts or reflections here, response to the daily rituals. I liked the daily doodles. I saw that someone else is a haiku person. Someone does a daily haiku here. Maybe this is where you're doing your maybe habit building ladder if you're kind of embracing some of that. I use this to track when I travel, for what clothes I'm going to pack, what outfits, what pieces can I reuse, just so I don't overpack. Then we have the Mind Body Health Plan, which is again something that you can either schedule or something that you can kind of track in real time that you've done. And so maybe you want to embrace an alliteration theme. Maybe it's a Move Your Body Monday, Frustration Free Friday. I love the similar to the Rosebud Thorn with its elegant simplicity, the I feel this, so I need this. It's a great tool to check in with yourself on a daily basis to figure out what type of day you think you're going to have and what would you then need to either support that day or change that day. So if you're, you're feeling anxious, maybe you need to do something else. If you're feeling a little bit of a low battery, maybe you need to focus on those 7 types of rest. Maybe you want to embrace some of the spring ideas, the seasonal ideas. Maybe this is where your reading log is going to live because you're really into books right now. Don't worry, I'll come to this again. I just we, the cups have run over with just the idea of refilling your cup, re-energizing, recharging. I feel like that goes hand in hand very much so with vitality than maybe some of our other themes. So I've really kind of dove headfirst into the refilling. Maybe I'm just really focused on hydration at the moment as well. The shopping list can then go hand in hand with that meal plan. But a lot of people will put their bingos here, name your theme, name your idea. Maybe you're going to do a spring break bingo, just a welcoming spring bingo. Maybe it's the boring stuff bingo. Maybe it's a just for fun. Maybe you have a milestone, a birthday, an anniversary, some sort of celebration coming up. You can turn that into the bingo. I saw that someone made intentional effort to kind of check in with all their friends. Maybe this is where you track that. Maybe it's a buy, don't buy, maybe some of those other reminders, or even just quotes. I know the Silk and Saunders sticker pack includes a vitality sticker themed bingo. So it'll be a monthly themed bingo that you can throw in there and write. So I'm going to give you guys some time to work on this. Wrap it up with one more song, and we will see you soon. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. And that very last section on that page, I feel like is a lot of the like counterbalance to the I want moment on the next page. This is now the I am loving. I always like the opportunities or like the subtle ways you can kind of take back control of your thoughts and feelings and responses of your particular week. So the idea of this I'm loving section is just your opportunity to throw out what is something that is making you happy. What are you enjoying? What are you loving? What are you doing? If you want to share in the chat, I would love to see that. For me, I have dove definitely headfirst into my playlist curation. I have just found some really fun artists. Like I said, I got into the like mashups, the like clever instrumental mashups. So it's just been something really fun. It is something that I can do while working, while studying, while reading. So it's just been that like really nice, very impactful energy builder that just can get woven in so seamlessly throughout my day. And as always, can you believe it? We have reached the end of our hour together. It has been wonderful. It is amazing. If you would like to continue the conversation in the Silk and Sonder app, we would love to as well. We would love to see your pages if you want to share them. They're amazing. Inspiration as well as just really creative ideas and opportunity to get all of the support. But I think even Bailey had mentioned it, is that because we do this on such a regular basis, especially the setups, we all just feel invested in each other's lives. So it's like, I want to see what cool stuff you're doing. I want to see how you're embracing your week. We are still working with our kind of different beta versions. So that's that 24-hour personalized coaching. You should get some emails. They have a few more demos coming up. Same thing with we have rolled out our digital version. So if you want to try the digital journal version, you can reach out to hello@silkandsonder.com. It wouldn't replace anything. We just, again, trying to find different ways to connect, to make it functional. It really works with traveling. So I think that's been amazing. And again, there's just that like added oomph of something different, shake it up a little bit. But I am still definitely partial to the written. So I love that for a lot of it, but it is nice to potentially have that digital option. I know someone mentioned a Vitality playlist. I save all of my social playlists on my Spotify. They are labeled with the month and the theme, and they run about 30 minutes. So if you always need some inspiration, they are there. This is a copy of it. I will include the link in my chat, or in the chat, my link to the playlist in the chat. Ugh, words are hard, talking for an hour. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. We hope to see you at another event. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week, definitely rest of your weekend, as we close out strong, fully energized as we go into spring and as we finish up March. So I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.
I've rehearsed 1,000 times. I played it all out in my mind. And now it's time to go. Time to give the world a show that I've been dreaming all my life. The day has come. I'm gonna give myself a chance. This time I'm getting off the fence. The wait is over, yeah, it's my life. This is my life. I can do this. Just stick around, you'll see. Going through this takes every part of me. Wanna feel it down inside. It's like a roller coaster ride, but it's true, yes. I can do this. I am the captain of my soul. Only I can make me whole. If nothing ever changes, everything will stay the same. So I will change and I will grow. The day has come. I'm gonna give myself a chance. This time I'm getting off the fence. The wait is over, yeah, it's my life. This is my life. I can do this. Just stick around, you'll see. Going through this takes every part of me. Wanna feel it down inside. It's like a roller coaster ride, but it's true, yes. I can do this. this fire starts, I'm gonna let it burn and burn and burn and burn. I can do this. Just stick around, you'll see. Going through this takes every part of me. What I'm feeling down inside is like a roller coaster ride, but it's true.